I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but I knew it was gonna look dope. I had my dad there helping every step of the way, and he is a retired union carpenter, so his knowledge and free labor was super helpful throughout. Other than his involvement and various help from others along the way, be it ideas or free labor, I was relying fully upon my own curiosity and research abilities, which usually manifested themselves in endless hours of YouTube videos from channels like Home Renovision DIY, Third Coast Craftsman, Premier Outdoor Living, This Old House, DIY with Pete, and Lowe's and Home Depot's channels. This was definitely a learn on the go kind of project. After checking with our local 811 before digging, we poured 12 10-inch by 36-inch concrete footers. For our area, they had to be 36-inch minimum to be below the frost line and prevent racking. Those were brutal to dig, and I did it by hand using a manual post hole digger and a digging bar. For the framing, we went with half attached and half floating deck, meaning it's only attached to the house with about an 8-foot ledger board. The remaining width of the deck is floating because we didn't want to tie it into the brick porch and possibly wouldn't even have been structurally allowed to anyways. We started on the side with the ledger board and worked our way out from there, digging post holes and setting 4x6 posts, double 2x10 beams, and 2x10 joists as we went. The longest part of the deck ended up being over 24 feet, and we split that up over 3 separate beams so our joist wouldn't span more than 8 feet on any given section. This is over-engineered, but it will put off sagging until much later in the deck's lifespan. You'll notice that a lot of this project was over-engineered. That's just how me and my dad are. One important thing we needed to prepare for was the joist layout. My plan from the beginning was to offset the deck boards on a 45-degree angle and put a picture frame around the entire edge. That meant I needed to have extra joists and blocking in the right places to accept those boards down the road. In my area, hurricane ties were required to secure joists to the beam, and while I had them in place, they were only installed with deck screws when they should have been installed with structural screws. They're two different things, so learn from me, as my inspector made me redo about 200 screws worth. Accuracy during the framing process is extremely important because it sets the foundation for everything that comes later. For example, we kept a consistent fall of about 1/4 inch for every foot so water would drain away from the house. It's things like this that you have to plan for at this point in the project. And as you can see, my neighbor accidentally set off a bunch of fireworks in his garage during this part of the build. Wild. We framed everything all the way out, but left the stairs until later in the project. As the last step for the frame, we added joist tape to give them a longer life.